Hello, hello, buenos dias, good morning. Welcome back. I am back in this space now that I am on summer break, and I am excited because I have some summer sewing plans and lots of free time to get things done. If you're new here, my name is Cynthia, and welcome to Sewing with Cyn. Today I'm going to be working on a project that I really hope I can finish in one day. I don't normally push myself to sew very quickly, but with this particular project, it's pretty simple and straightforward. I've sewn it one time before, and so I'm really confident that I can do this in one day. And ideally, I would like to do it before the sun sets. That is my goal. I'm working on the Orchard dress by Helen's Closet. It's a free pattern, and I made it last summer. Let me show you the version that I made last summer. Was just with a bed sheet. I just used a thrifted bed sheet, and it's super simple. It just has spaghetti straps. The front panel and the back panel are exactly the same, so it's just one pattern piece. And I just added a cute little gathered ruffle at the bottom. And really, when I made this last summer, it was just for the intention of having something for pajamas, something cool. I get really hot at night, especially, and this just felt like a nice, cool bed sheet on me. And so I decided this summer I wanted to make another one, but something that I would actually wear outside of the house. So I have some things already prepped, and that is why I'm pretty sure that I can finish this in a day, because I already prepped some stuff beforehand. So I cut right here. I'm just using it's like a lightweight linen. I have my front and back panels already cut out. I'm also going to do the ruffle just like I did last year. And so I have two long rectangle pieces already cut out. And people often ask about adding a gathered ruffle at the bottom of dresses. I do that very often, and I've gotten asked that question a lot. So my rule of thumb for cutting, if it's not already in the pattern, obviously, I just measure across. This is the bottom hem, so I measure from end to end. And on this one, it's like about 30 inches across. So this is just one panel, right? But then you know that the back panel would make it 60 inches across total. So I take that number and I multiply it by 1.5. Some people do it 2 times the amount. My personal preference is 1.5 times the length of the skirt, because otherwise it'll just be really full, and I don't really want that effect. So that's what I did on my last one last summer, and I already know that that's going to be the perfect amount. So, and this is what takes a big chunk of the time. Prepping this in advance is really helpful for me, because now I know, like, this is all ready to go. Everything's all cut. And today the focus is let's just construct it. The prep work is what takes the longest sometimes. So my goal for today is to work in hour chunks of time, because I really want to get better at taking breaks if I'm going to be working for a longer amount of time, especially in the summer. And we'll see what we can get done in about an hour. Let's get to work. I'm going to, right now with this panel, it doesn't really matter right from left, but we're going to pretend that this is the wrong side. I know you're supposed to grade these seams. I'm not. I'm feeling like it's going to be okay, because this fabric is just so thin. I really don't think it's going to make that much of a difference if I grade it. Will it? Will I regret that choice? We'll find out. It's gonna be okay. This is like a very low stakes project. And it's gonna look fabulous. Fabulous. Okay, we've got one panel complete. Looking good, looking good. I'm gonna go press this and then I'm gonna work on the back panel, adding the binding to that. Not bad, not bad. Moving along pretty quickly. I'm going to put the two panels together now and sew along the side seams. Guys, call me crazy, but I am not adding pockets to this dress, especially for like a sundress like this. I don't know, it just weighs it down a little bit. So I've decided I am not adding pockets, which is going to make this process even faster. Favorite part, I finished my seams and now I'm pressing them. Do not skip this step. It makes a huge difference. And it's so satisfying, isn't it? I'm going to do the bottom ruffle first because the bottom ruffle will add a little bit of weight. This is so smart. I'm glad I just thought of that. Because it will add a little bit of weight to the dress, I will add the straps after because I want to make sure that the straps are placed correctly on my shoulders. And if I add the ruffle later on, then it might feel too tight right here because it's going to weigh it down. So I will do the bottom ruffle skirt thingy, and then I will do the straps. I can't believe I'm already, this to me feels like halfway done. If you are just making this dress just like that and you are not adding the bottom ruffle, you can definitely finish this in a few hours. This is a great pattern for beginners too. Okay, so I'm going to do a quick fit check just to make sure that everything fits, especially right here under the arm. I probably should have done that before I searched my seams. Okay, fingers crossed it fits. Okay, it fits. It fits a little snug. Interesting, because I use the same exact size as my last dress from last summer. And I was actually thinking that this would be a little more loose because it's linen and the other one's a cotton bed sheet. But for some reason it's not. I wonder if I didn't do 5/8 seam allowance last year and maybe I did like a 1/2 inch seam allowance. I could not find any notes. I needed to take notes on this one so I can remember if I make it again. I'm usually really good about taking notes, but I didn't do that last time. So anyway, it looks like it's going to fit though. And even if it is a little snug right here, that's okay because this linen is going to move and I think it's going to be fine. Now I'm going to set this dress aside and I'm just going to focus on the bottom panels. First, what I think I will do is, so I have a front panel and a back panel. I'm going to sew them together at the short end and sew it right here on this end. Double fold hem on one side and then on the other side I'm going to gather it. I love doing the hem beforehand before adding it onto the skirt because it's just going to make things a lot easier, but I'm not going to stitch it down until after I add it onto the dress. I think we'll see when I get to that step, but we're going to go from this to this. Here we go. Now I've got one big continuous piece and I'm going to add the hem, and I want to make sure that I'm putting the hem on the wrong side where the seams are at. So I'm going to take this side, press the seams down. I also serged them because I already serged my dress. So I want to make sure that this is also finished. And then I'm going to fold it up. I think I'm going to do 3/8 of an inch and then another 3/8 of an inch. Guys, I want to know, are you the kind of person that folds over one piece like I'm doing all the way across the hem, and then you go back and do the second fold? Or do you fold one piece like this and then fold the next piece right away? I'm so curious if there is a more efficient way. Like, is this efficient? I'm just going across, doing one fold first, and then I'll go back and do the second fold. To me, that just feels easier, especially with like a fiddly fabric like this. Oh, I'm already almost done. I'm already almost back to the beginning. Okay, now I just got to do the second fold. And now I'm going to set my machine to a gathering stitch. So I'm using a really wide stitch, but with a tight tension. Let's check. There we go, looking good. Let me show you. Do you see how it's automatically adding the gather there? Less work for me later on. I just finished gathering, and then I realized what I should have done is gather one panel and then keep the threads really long, and then gather the other panel and keep the threads really long. So that way I would have 2 points to be pulling the threads. But I forgot to do that. And that's okay. It's just going to be a little bit trickier to evenly spread the gathers. But who knows? Maybe I'll get lucky. I've got about 10 minutes until it's been an hour and I need to take a little break. That's pretty good. I'm already getting very close to finishing this. So I think in 10 minutes, what I can do is attach this to the dress. So I'm going to do that. And I think that'll take me probably about 10 minutes anyway. Let me get a little bit of space. And I want to make sure to add it to the right side. So right side's facing, I'm going to match my seams too. This seam to this seam, right sides together. It's been an hour, actually, an hour and 10 minutes. So that took me about 10 minutes to evenly gather that little bottom skirt to the dress. So it's all pinned and ready to go. When I come back from my break, then I will work on stitching that to the seam, stitching those seams together, and then finishing the hem and working on the shoulder straps. Things are moving along way faster than I thought. To be honest, I thought this project would take me about 4 or 5 hours because I'm kind of a slow sewist. But I think this might take me 2.5, 3 hours maximum probably. So I'm going to do a couple of chores. I'm going to have a late breakfast snack, and then I will be back to finish. Okay, we're back from a break. And now I'm going to get back to the bottom hem. I'm going to set a timer for an hour. And who knows, maybe I'll finish this in an hour, or I'll take a little break and then come back for one more half an hour. All right. We're inching closer to finishing this dress. I just have the straps and I'm done. Y'all, I think I'm going to finish this in 2 hours. I don't know. I don't want to get my hopes up yet because at this point I have 45 more minutes on the clock. And who knows, maybe it'll only take 45 minutes to do I just have to do the shoulder straps. Here's what the bottom ruffle looks like. Okay, now for the shoulder straps, of course, because I never took notes last summer and I don't remember if I used this length or if I shortened it or not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this length, actually maybe a little bit more. I'm going to give myself a little bit more just in case. And then I'm going to do like a little test on one strap because the way that it's constructed is I would sew end to end. And so I would have like a circle and then you would attach the circle from the underarm seam up the top of the dress. And then once you do that, there's not really any way to undo or change the length of it because it will already have been attached. So that's why I'm lengthening it just a little bit more. I don't know. Usually I will have to shorten it. But I'm going to cut extra just in case. And then I'm going to write a note this time of what the actual length was. So I know for next season if I end up making another dress like this. What's the length here? That's 25 inches. I think I'm going to baste it. That way I can unpick it easily if I need to. This is 25 inches circumference around, but I feel like I could take it down a little bit. I like my underarm seams to fit a little bit higher up, especially because I don't wear a bra and I really don't want anything showing down here. So I think this length could work, but I'm going to take it in just a tiny bit. So actually, I think I'm pretty much using the length that this was, which was 24 and a half. So I'm just going to use the required length measurement, and I think that's going to work. Friends, that took me exactly 2 hours to finish. I was just pressing the final seams of the straps and my timer went off within 30 seconds. Now, I usually underestimate how long a project will take by hours. I'm usually very unrealistic with projects, but this time I overestimated. I really thought it was going to take me like half of a day, like 4 or 5 or even 6 hours. The fact that it only took me 2 hours is pretty incredible. So If you are new to sewing, if you are on a budget, this pattern is great because it's beginner friendly. There's lots of ways that you can change it. You can do it really simple. It's a top, it's also a skirt, and you can add like the gathered skirt like I did. And it really requires very little fabric. I'm not sure exactly how much fabric, but it really wasn't a lot of fabric at all. This is a perfect dress for summer. So I can't wait to put it on, and I'll show you all in just a second. One change that I will make if I make this dress again, maybe next season, because I really only needed one for the summer. When I measured the straps, I only measured this shoulder, and I didn't really dawn on me that my shoulders might be a little bit different. And so on this side, it feels slightly loose. So note to self, shoulder length around might not be the same on both sides. So note to self, and maybe a tip for you is measure both. Don't just do one. And so I'm on summer break right now. I have a couple of summer garments in the works. And the next one that I'm going to be working on is called the Solig dress. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I'm going to be working on that, and then I will be back to share that with you hopefully in the next couple of weeks. So I hope that you are having a fabulous summer so far, and thank you for joining me again. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you again next time. Bye.